Great. We have started. We've got people rolling in. Welcome, everybody. So excited to be here with you guys on Thursday. It is Thursday morning for me. It's Thursday afternoon for Pablo. And it is Thursday evening for Rhian, right? You're about to go out to dinner, huh?
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, yeah. So, everybody, as you're joining in, feel free to just drop in the chat where you're tuning in from, what brand or agency you're representing. We're going to be talking about cookies today. We're going to be talking about how to survive in this soon to be post cookieless world and how you can tap into your data. We're going to be kind of representing each of our companies that we work at, our solutions to really help you guys thrive in this space. So yeah, just go ahead and drop in the chat where you guys are tuning in from. And then as we're about to get started here, what I really want to know, because we're talking about cookies, so I want to know what is everybody's favorite cookie? So you guys can all take a moment. I'll start with mine. It's a tough one. I really do think that one of my favorites has to be when people make cookies and they put the like peanut M&Ms inside the cookies. So that way you've got a little bit of like soft cookie with that peanut M&M crunch. So yeah. Oatmeal scotchies. Ooh, Alicia's got some oatmeal scotchies. Pablo, what about you?
I would say I'm going to say snickerdoodle because I don't think it'll get me in trouble. But close second is oatmeal raisin, which I know is not popular, but I'll go out and say it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, oatmeal
Um,
raisin's good.
yeah, I need to try one of these oatmeal raisins. We don't get them over here, but I'm very much traditional milk chocolate girl. Especially if you warm it in the microwave for 10 seconds,
Ooh,
make it extra good.
ooh, yeah. Jennifer's saying oatmeal chocolate chip. That
There you go.
sounds
It's close
that
enough.
sounds good.
I think it's the oatmeal that gives it like a cool texture. It's a little
Hmm.
bit chewier, which I really like. So I think that's probably part of it.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I will say, I'm definitely a fan. I don't go to Panera often, but they have the kitchen sink cookie, which is like got pretzel bits in it, and I think it's
Oh,
got oatmeal, and I think it's got chocolate chips, and it's just got a bunch of everything. It's got some salt on there too. Oh, it is
oh,
so good.
salt,
But
salt and
yeah,
sweet is always a great combo.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm excited to kick off the webinar with all of you guys today. We're going to be each going through and representing each of our brands, talking about how to help you guys thrive in the post-cookieless world. We also have a prize at the end for the most valuable chatter. It's our MVC award. So the most valuable chatter is going to go to whoever's in the chat, chatting it up the most. So whether you are just adding commentary to what's going on, or you're just adding emojis to keep us hyped up and, letting us know what you're gaining out of this, asking questions, so on and so forth. You guys are going to walk away with some prizes from us. So you got to stay till the end now for us to kind of crown you with that most valuable chatter award. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to start sharing my screen here. All right, let me just see. Can everybody see my screen? Just move my chat over here. You guys should see a nice little yellow slide. If I can just get a couple of yeses in the chat from you guys, great. Aaron says he can see it. Gina says she can see it. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here. We are going to dive in. So let me go ahead and transition on to the next slide here. So I'm your guys' host. I'm the host, but I'm also one of the panelists. I'll just start with a brief intro on my side. I'm Mark. I work at Because. I've actually been at Because for over a year now, actually going on 2 years. I used to be a customer of Because, so that's pretty exciting. I actually came from the Adventure Challenge where I found Because. I was leading e-commerce over there, but I've been in marketing and sales for over a decade. So definitely really love all things customer journey. So it was such an easy yes for me to like join the Because team. My my boss, our CEO and founder, jokes that I joined the dark side when I switched over to Because. So Sergey, you'll love that joke there as you're teasing me to spend more money on some lightsabers. Um, and I'm a girl dad, so I've got an amazing daughter who's a little over 2 now, and it's all the fun. It's all the things. She's obsessed with stickers, and you guys already guessed because I've already been talking about Star Wars, but massive, massive Star Wars fan, and I'm loving season 2 of Andor, but please don't spoil anything because I'm like 5 episodes behind. So, but let's meet everybody else. So what we're going to be going through is we're going to be talking about first party data, why it matters now. We're going to be talking about how Because can help you guys all thrive. LoyaltyLion and Octane are also going to jump in here with Pablo and Rhian. And then we're going to do some live Q&A at the end and then also award the most valuable chatter. But Rhian, I'll turn it over to you for a little bit of an intro.
Yeah, thank you very much. Also very much on with the Andor thing. I'm obsessed. I'm still not going to series 2 yet, but I'm saving it all up. So yeah, I'm Rhian. I'm from LoyaltyLion and I'm in partner marketing over at LoyaltyLion. And yeah, we're delighted to be here today.
Awesome.
Hey everyone, my name is Pablo. I'm with Octane AI. I've been with Octane AI for 4 years, and I'm a senior account manager. Have not watched Andor yet, but I am deep into The Last of Us, which is the current show that
Oof.
I am binging.
Oh, I'm so far behind on all TV. I love season 1 of The Last of Us. I haven't started season 2 yet.
Yeah,
Uh, Andor I think is phenomenal. I recommended it to my boss. She thinks it's slow and boring. It is very slow, but it is the most like there's no lightsabers, there's no like Jedi in it. It's very like real centered into like what reality would have been, in the Star Wars universe. So it's just
character driven.
yeah, so character driven, storyline driven. It's great. All right. Well, I'm going to start off with talking about cookies. We're talking about how personalization, is really struggling. And I was just kind of like reminiscing on the old days with Pablo as we're getting started about how, man, it used to be so different back in the day where you could tap into so much data. You could really utilize on people's affinities, likes, interests. There was so much data even on the Facebook ads side of things when I used to run Facebook ads where you could target based off of the TV shows and where they shopped and where they went to college and all this stuff that was available. And what's really challenging now is that the data is just not there that we can tap into. It's really tough for us to use some of this data to create that personalization. Uh, so it's challenging. Targeting is getting harder, retargeting is getting more expensive, and even if we are retargeting, it's challenging to trust that it's going to work. But what's really great though, and what we're going to be talking a lot about today is you guys have data already that is accessible within your platforms. So what's in your Shopify store, your Klaviyo accounts, your customer profile properties that are in there, quiz data coming in from Octane, loyalty information coming in from LoyaltyLion. And the only thing that's kind of been missing to kind of bridge all that gap is a really smart way to grab all that data together and make a personalized shopping experience. And that's where I get the pleasure to talk about Because today, because takes all that data that you already have that's just kind of maybe hiding in these little silos and brings it all together for a personalized experience. So with us, we do on-site personalization. The way we do this is by tapping into the data that you have. So we're a no-code CRO solution, which is amazing. It's what I loved when I was using this on the brand side. I didn't have to tap on my developer's shoulders and try to get this into sprint cycles, and it didn't, have to go into this big project. And today, because it's being used by over 800 Shopify stores, which is really amazing. So it's definitely a very trusted platform amongst so many top tier brands. What I want to show you here is what happens when we personalize the data. So we tap into Klaviyo data, we tap into Octane data, we tap into other quiz platforms, we tap into all this loyalty messaging. And I just want to show you an example here of what one of our brands that we work with, what happened when they did personalization using Because. You can see here, it's a nice little quote from Catherine at Cornbread Hemp. I'll be brief by just saying that Cornbread Hemp is just amazing partners in this space, and they have this whole quiz that really helps customers understand their pain points because they have a lot of different gummies that just help solve different gummies. So whether it's stress or sleep or relaxation or whatever you're trying to solve for, they have it. You take a quiz on their site, and prior to Because, you take the quiz, you'd get an email, and then that was kind of the it. And then customers would have to go back into their email to kind of see what was my result. And as they're shopping on the site hasn't changed for them. With Because, you can see here, we add this top bar to their shopping journey. What's really great here is as customers are coming back onto the site time and time again, they can see what their quiz results are, and they can see what is their top recommended product here. So as we're looking here, what's really great is you can see this little quote from Catherine. She is talking about that when they started personalizing with first-party data, so the data they already had access to, they saw that their customers had to stop guessing about what was their results and they started converting. They saw that their AOV jumped 30%, which is absolutely amazing. and their conversion rate lifted by 2.5 points, which is just so cool. Then they just started creating a really true shopping journey that just felt human and not generic. And here's some other additional results to that here. So I'll pause here because I've been talking for a minute. I'm curious, those that are watching, those that are tuning in the chat, have you guys thought about anything about tapping into results like this and creating a shopping journey that feels very personalized? While you guys are typing in here, I'm going to go ahead and transition on to the next slide here. I want to show you two other really cool examples for some of our favorite brands. So we've got Duke Cannon here, and then we've also got Hallelujah Diet. Duke Cannon uses a quiz as well. Very similar example here. They take the quiz, and then as the customer takes the quiz to find out what scent that they're being recommended, they can see that their signature scent is bourbon and that they can just easily shop their top picks here. Again, it doesn't leave customers guessing. Customers are feeling like they're getting that VIP treatment and that they almost have this like consultation relationship with your site. And then tapping into LoyaltyLion, what's really awesome is we are personalizing hundreds of experiences across the site for customers where they are seeing that they are a rewards member. They're getting points back on their dollar spent. We can even prompt users to log in. We can even tell them how many points that they have available to spend, which is really cool. The amazing piece about all of this, though, is that because since we're tapping into Klaviyo, we're identifying customers before they log in. So in all of these instances that I've showed you, the customer's just visiting on site. Klaviyo is recognizing them, and then the because campaigns are happening, which is really beautiful. So customers don't have to log in. Most cases, customers don't even log into loyalty until they have started their checkout process. So the fact that we can do this messaging in cart and just remind people what tier they're on, how many points they're getting per dollar spent, remind them that they have points available, that they have rewards they can tap into, is just really, really awesome. Well, I'm coming up to the end of my time here, but I just want to kind of end here with just letting you guys know that because we can tap into all the data that you guys have available, I would love the opportunity to chat with you guys about this and how we can leverage your Klaviyo data, your Facebook ads data that you have coming in from UTM, your LoyaltyLion, maybe you're using Yotpo or another loyalty program. We can certainly talk about all that as well. And then quizzes too. And maybe you're in the chat right now and you don't have quizzes and you don't have loyalty. I definitely want you to my encouragement is for you to stay around and listen to Pablo and Rhian talk, as they're going to really be talking about really how to really take everything at a further level. I'm starting off this by just showing you how because is tapping into all this stuff, but the real magic I think is going to be coming from Pablo and Rhian here in just a moment. But I just want to drop real quick in the chat my link to start a trial. And then what we'll do here is we will transition to the next presenter here. So I appreciate you guys listening to me, and I'll be kind of popping in and out here as I'm transitioning the slides. So Pablo, over to you.
Hello, hello. Hey, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon. Another quick intro. Again, my name is Pablo Fuentes. I am a senior account manager here at Octane AI, and I'm really excited to help walk you through and highlight some actionable strategies regarding zero-party data, but also specifically shop quizzes that we provide through Octane AI and how that can help you and your brands thrive in an environment where third-party cookies are essentially extinct. And I think what's really interesting about the current environment is even though customers are more aware of their privacy, more so than ever, they are still expecting the content that they see to be more personalized than ever, which can seem pretty contradictory and can be kind of confusing. But I do think that is where tools like Octane AI and zero-party data can play a really strong factor there to help you guys thrive. So with that, Marc, if you want to go to the next slide. What is a quiz funnel? So in our thinking and our belief here at Octane, we believe that the quiz funnel is the perfect response for a cookieless world. We think quizzes do a really, really great job at providing an in-store personalized shopping experience online. And that can really help deepen that customer engagement with the brand. The example I like to give, and I used to work at a Best Buy when I was in college, is let's say you go into a Best Buy and you're looking for a new pair of noise canceling headphones. You're looking at the brands, Beats by Dre, Sony, Bose. You don't really know which one is the right one for your specific needs. And so you're a little bit confused, maybe a little bit overwhelmed. You could end up leaving the store without making a purchase, but what usually happens at a Best Buy is someone in a blue polo will come up to you, ask you a couple of vetting questions, see what your current needs are, what your goals are. and then they will make a recommendation for you. And that is exactly what the Octane quiz does in the online space, really mimicking that in-store experience. And what you'll see is that personalization level really does boost the conversion rate and also customer satisfaction, and helps reduce returns. We have a case study on our website that is, and I can actually link it here in just a few minutes, from a brand called Buckle Me Baby Coats that experienced a 95% drop in returns and exchanges within a year after using an Octane quiz. And so that 95% drop equated to about less than 24,000 less returns, which is pretty significant. So beyond that surface level, you're going to be giving customers a more personalized, tailored recommendation based on their unique needs. You're also going to be collecting all that powerful data, which is going to unlock a lot of behavior-based insights that you can use to supercharge your email and your SMS efforts, which I think is where the real magic happens, right? The conversion rate is great, but really that data is going to help increase that lifetime value for those customers. And so we believe that this is a win-win, not just for you, but also the customers, right? Because we just mentioned customers are expecting more privacy, but when they're willingly giving you that data in the zero-party area, you build trust with them, right? They're willingly giving that data as a way of showing good faith in you. And that's where you can actually create quizzes to really extract the data that you want from the customer. So again, it's a win-win for both parties. And that transparent exchange of information is super valuable in forming those long-lasting relationships, which is really important in a privacy-focused market. So Marc, if you want to go to the next slide.
Yeah. Pablo, I used to work at Best Buy too, and I wore the blue polo for years, and
Oh
it
yeah.
had the rec sheet that you had to fill out too
Yep.
when you were talking with customers. Yep.
Okay, so once you have the data from the quiz, how do you use it, right? It doesn't do any good for anyone if it's just sitting in an Excel document on someone's desktop. And that's where the seamless integrations come in, right? So the main thing you're going to do with using the data is the SMS and the email integration. So we have it here on the left. We integrate directly with Attentive, Yotpo, Klaviyo, PostScript, and Recart. And we also integrate with Zapier. So if you don't see your platform here on the left, you can have an indirect integration via Zapier, which is really, really useful. And so all the quiz data, so all those questions and answers will flow into those platforms as customer profile properties. So you then create segmentations and lists based on those specific characteristics. And then you can really talk to that customer on a unique personalized level, which I think is really where the power comes in. And we also do integrate with subscription platforms. So if you really are a brand that is focused on pushing subscriptions, you can offer subscriptions via the quiz. If you want to go ahead, Marc. Okay, so what are the results? So in 2024, our benchmarks were, we saw a 24% average order value increase on brands using the quiz, a 12% average conversion rate on quizzes, and then a 33% average opt-in rate. And some of these brand logos you see down here are just some of the big brands that we work with. And I'll be showing some examples, as tangible examples that we can walk through here in the next slide. Okay, so Ilia Beauty is a brand that we work with, and I actually work with myself. They built a really great shade finder. This is a more traditional type of quiz. We really call them product finders. But what Ilia Beauty was finding was that makeup brands, they tend to offer a lot of products, but also in between those products is a lot of different shades. So I think their products have about 30 different shades per product. And so when you're shopping for that type of product online, it can be very overwhelming. You're not really sure if you're making the right purchase. And so you may convert, you may not. You may just have general anxiety about the purchase, which is not really a great customer experience. And so what some people may do is, let's just drive down to Sephora, see those products in person before deciding to make a purchase online, or maybe they'll just decide to make the purchase in store instead. And that's what this quiz really aims to solve, right? Really simple quiz, ask some standard questions. You have some images to help the customer really relate to it based on their own skin tone. And at the end, you of course get the match. And now we know that this customer, their skin shade is going to be the Rendezvous ST1. Maybe a little bit hard to see there on that last image on the right. But beyond that, we also know that they are looking for a dewy and fresh finish, which is really, really important information. We also know that they may be struggling with redness or skin sensitivity, or maybe breakouts, right? That's all data that's going to be stored into Klaviyo or Attentive or Yotpo that you can then use to speak to that customer on a more personalized level. Next slide, Marc. Okay, this example, I really, really love this example. So this is Jocko Fuel. They were founded by Jocko Willink, who is a retired Navy SEAL, and they are a supplement brand, health supplement brand. They just launched this quiz, I think April 14th, and today is actually the last day of this specific campaign. So they had this You versus You campaign, where the whole goal was to help their customers kind of deal with the battle from within, right? The battle against themselves of strength and discipline versus their weakness. And so they created this quiz where it's not just standard multiple choice questions and answers, which is what a standard quiz would look like. It's more so like a journal entry. So it's really talking to someone, learning more about them on a personal level. So you start off with the name, you have a couple other free-form text response questions, and each question is also paired with a direct message from the founder, which I really, really love that touch. I think that's a really unique use case there. And then on the results, you see that the product recommendation is secondary, right? It is there is an element there, but it's not really what they're pushing for. They're reiterating to the customer the answer that they provided in those free-form text responses, which helps with motivation and accountability. And because they integrate with Klaviyo, we're then able to send their responses to their inbox. And so they can always look back to that email as a way of being held accountable and seeing that motivation aspect, which I think, again, is really, really interesting.
So cool.
And that is pretty much it from my end. I think just as a quick recap, we believe here at Octane that zero-party data and, of course, quizzes and how they correlate not just offer a replacement, but are an upgrade to traditional marketing means. And so if anyone is interested in starting a quiz journey, we are offering an extended 30-day trial for anyone attending this webinar. So you can feel free to email me at the email address you see there, or you can scan that QR code. It will take you to my LinkedIn, and you can send me a message and add me there. We can, keep discussions going.
So cool. I really appreciate that, Pablo. I think quizzes are just so untapped because even to the point where you're talking about beauty at like, going into a local Sephora, you're hoping that if you go into the local Sephora that you're even going to get help too, right? Because it's like
Yes.
you're probably going to be overwhelmed with decisions there as well, and you're just hoping that you can find an employee that is educated enough to help you like answer your problems. I think speaking just as a consumer, what I've loved about quizzes is oftentimes quizzes bring problems to mind that I wasn't necessarily aware that I was trying to solve yet. So as I'm shopping through things, it's like maybe you are coming in just for like, oily skin, but then you realize, well, actually I would like XYZ instead. And the quiz
Right.
helps bring a lot of that stuff to the surface for you. So
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, awesome. Everybody in the chat just checking in on the most valuable chatter award. We're definitely getting some good activity in there, but let's see if we can increase the activity as Rhian's sharing, and definitely love the questions that are being asked in there. So if you guys are finding this helpful so far, can I just get like a helpful in the chat? Just type helpful in there if you guys are finding this helpful, and then we'll go over to Rhian at LoyaltyLion.
Thank you. That was great. That was really interesting. Thanks, guys. So yeah, lovely to be here. So I'm Rhian. As I've said, I'm the partner marketing manager at LoyaltyLion. And yeah, really great topic. So obviously with what we've already mentioned, with third-party cookies on their way out and privacy regulations are really tightening, brands are really having to rethink about how and where and how they collect their customer data. So a lot of that focus has obviously shifted first party, which is fantastic, but an even more sort of deeper type of data that we should be thinking about is definitely zero party data as well. And when we're talking about zero party data, we're really talking about the information that your customers actively choose to give you. So it's not guessed based on what they've clicked or bought, it's really volunteered freely and directly, which makes it super, super credible. So next slide, please. So before I dive in, I just want to say a little bit about who LoyaltyLion are. So if you're not familiar with LoyaltyLion, we're a data-driven loyalty platform built specifically for Shopify e-commerce brands. We currently work with over 10,000 brands around the world, helping them increase customer lifetime value by turning one-off shoppers into loyal repeat guardians of your brand. And what makes us stand out is really how we use loyalty programs, not just to reward that consumer behavior, but also to collect those customer insights, things like preferences, values, motivations, and we help activate that data through the brand's email, SMS, e-commerce tools, etc., etc. To hopefully stimulate that deeper connection and smarter engagement. Next slide, please. And before I dive in, I just want to show you some of the clients that we currently work with, give you a bit of a flavor. So this span everything from fashion and beauty to health, wellness, pet care. So whether you're selling skincare or supplements, there's definitely a loyalty strategy that works for that. So as you can see, we've got a joint brand with Pablo there, Ilia, Kite Baby, Base, Victoria Beckham, Opolly, just to name a few. Next slide, please. Thank you. So just digging into exactly what zero-party data is. And this is the data that customers intentionally share with that brand. So exactly like what Octane AI have been saying, it thinks through surveys, quizzes, and even direct conversations. And there are a few main reasons why we really love it at LoyaltyLion. And one is that it's willingly given. People are happy to share this info. They trust your brand and they're getting something valuable in return, like loyalty points or personalized perks, whatever is suitable for your brand. Secondly, it's accurate. So you, exactly like I said before, you're really not guessing because they're already telling you what they want. Like Pablo said, if they're telling you what sort of skin shade foundation they need, it's right in your hand for you to use. And third, it's data that you actually own yourself as a brand. So you're not reliant on third parties, and that means you can use it freely to power things like product recommendations. And obviously segmentation too. So critically, it's accurate, it's privacy friendly, and it builds that real trust that is really important. Next slide, please. So obviously, I'm going to talk about how we use a loyalty program to collect that zero-party data. And I'm not just saying this, but genuinely one of the easiest ways is through a loyalty program. Why? That's because you already have an engaged audience who's interacting with your brand, and they're happy to share that information with you if there's something in it for them in return. With ourselves, with LoyaltyLion, you can offer loyalty points in exchange for answers to things like preferences, skin types, favorite products, or one of my favorites is even pet birthdays. It's a low value effort, it's a low effort exchange, but it feels like a natural part of that customer journey. But equally, the data that a brand gets back is really, really valuable. So just a bit of data to back that up. So 83% of consumers are willing to share their data in return for that personalized experience, as long as you're clear and transparent about how you'll use it, i.e. to improve their experience and not just for sales. Customers will be on board with that. So, sorry, go back to the previous slide. Thank you. So the key is obviously to that is just to make sure you're asking the right questions at the right time. So that could be, what info will help you send more relevant messages? What do you need to personalize a product information recommendation? And what would help you better understand someone's lifestyle or purchase intent? And yeah, next slide, please. So when you're using a loyalty program to collect that zero-party data, it's important to make data collection feel like it's part of the brand experience as well, and it's not just a barrier to it. So that's where sort of, a brand's developers and our SDK would come into play. And together you can really create those interactive touch points to make it super easy. Little moments that are fun, rewarding, but also genuinely useful to the end consumer. So a bit of an example, if you're a beauty brand, exactly like I said previously, create a simple skincare quiz about things like skin type or specific concerns. In return, the customer gets loyalty points and recommendations that could match their needs. So it's helpful and it feels personal. Or back to pet care, you could ask customers to complete their pet's profile. That way you collect key information like age, breed, dietary preferences, and use that to send personalized tips, treats, and offers that feel spot on. One of my favorite brands here in the UK is a brand called Itch. And every month they send me a package directly to my cat, who's called Roy. And every month without fail, it cheers me up. So yeah, this shows how far that personalization can go. And obviously feeding subscriptions as well. Obviously, surveys are another great one. If you want feedback on a new product idea or insight into what consumers care about most, just ask them. Invite their opinions, reward them for their time, and turn that insight into new product development and insights as well. So they aren't just data capture tools, and that's something we really like to hammer home. They're opportunities to connect. And when the customers feel seen and heard, obviously they're more likely to stay loyal. And that is really, really important to your customer base. Next slide, please. So collecting that zero-party data is obviously just half of that story. What you do next is where things really get exciting. So once your customers have shared their preferences or buying motivations, the goal is to make sure that information actually shapes their experience with your brand. So before you start collecting anything, it's obviously worth mapping out things like what kind of data do you need to collect, how are you going to segment it, and where in the comms journey will it make the biggest impact? That's what we've seen anyway. So just a little example, say you've got customers who've told you they're shopping for gifts, you could segment them into a gift giver's audience and create that tailored email series with curated gift ideas just for them. Or again, going back to the skin type idea or the dietary preferences, that's your cue to trigger those personalized products suggestions as well. And yeah, next slide, please. So finally, I just want to touch on some of the brands that are really doing this really well. First of all, one of my personal favorites is a brand called the Inky List. They're a skincare brand and they reward loyalty members for taking a skin quiz. Like I said, this is really very popular. That data powers personalized product recommendations. And as a result, more relevant comms, better product matches, and higher engagement. And I think especially in in health and wellness right now, it's obviously it's a very competitive space, and it's also very confusing. So this for me, when I put in my personal preferences and a quiz or whatever it might be shoots out what I need, I really, really value that information, and it doesn't feel like I'm giving data either. Lace Laboratory is another one of our customers. So they're an underwear brand and they use style quizzes to learn what inspires their customers and how they shop and what they look for in different situations, which I think is really cool. That insight then helps them tell their messaging just beyond, your simple demographics. And finally, because I've got to finish on pets, Edgard and Cooper, which is the best brand name I've heard for quite some time. They're a pet food brand. They've been a LoyaltyLion customer for quite some time, and they encourage customers to complete a profile. So Edgard and Cooper know things like their pet's name, their age, their breed, who their pet's parents are, and it really enables them to tailor that content, send them great personalized product suggestions and even pet-specific loyalty rewards. So yeah, I think the main takeaway from our side of things is that it's great because none of this data was inferred, it was shared willingly. And these brands have created engagement moments that feel part of the journey and that you're willing to share as well. And it's not just a data grab, which is really, really critical. So yeah, that's all from me.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Rhian. I think loyalty for me is definitely one of the most untapped things for most brands. I think loyalty is what drives the competitive space between yourself and Amazon and retail. Like
Yeah.
so many brands are competing against themselves right now.
Yeah.
Every day we're talking to e-commerce managers saying how they are competing with themselves on Amazon and other online retailers and retail. And that's where loyalty comes in. Like I'm more keen to buy from a brand that is them directly when I get the loyalty treatment because
Yeah.
Amazon doesn't care.
No, absolutely. And I think it's also about like the conscious consumer because, if you're buying from say like an Inky List, and you come back and they're like, you bought this and we really recommend this based on your skincare. As a consumer, I really like that personalization and I feel like I'm cared exactly in opposition to maybe you would do as an Amazon. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and even the there's so much space. I'm a big fan of surprise and delight, and there's so much space inside of loyalty and quizzes where you can surprise and delight people based off of what you know about them, right? So like how can you surprise people for their half birthday? How can you surprise people for being with you for X amount of months or when they make their 100th purchase from you or whatever it may be. There's so much little things like that that just really can take loyalty to the next level. So
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. Just about making people feel part of a community as well, critically.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. We've got some time. We went through that so efficiently. So now the floor is yours, chat. Like let us know what questions are buzzing for you guys. I know that you definitely have a lot of questions that are coming up. Um, Jennifer's asking one specifically, and Pablo, I'll put you on the spot. But what are some of the best ideas that you can think of from like surprise and delight coming from quiz data? Is there anything that you can think of that you've seen?
In terms of surprise and delight, in what regard?
Like maybe there's something through quizzes where you're surprising customers with like a bonus information or like a bonus gift or like maybe there's like a discount involved or something like that based off of them taking a quiz.
Yeah, we do often see brands have an incentive at the end, usually at the end of the quiz is where the opt-in comes in, right? We usually recommend having that email or SMS opt-in towards the end of the quiz, right before the results. And that's usually where there will be some form of incentive on like a first time purchase or whatever, just to increase that opt-in rate. And that's usually what we see brands do. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say the other way that I've seen Surprise and Delight work, which is more subtle for quizzes, there's a brand called Curious Elixirs that comes to mind. Their quiz is so much fun to take, which is not often that you hear people talk about how fun quizzes are to take, but they have such a playful tone and they have such a
Mm.
interesting way about like asking questions. They're a non-alcoholic brand, so they have like non-alcoholic mixers that they're trying to do this whole appeal to. And so they ask questions instead of asking people like, do you want to feel energized or restful? They ask the question of like, would you rather take a bath in hot coffee or like a hot coffee jacuzzi or something like that versus, being in a sleep chamber. That might have been the wrong example, but they have fun with their quiz. So that way it feels exciting for like, oh, what's next? Like, what am I about to answer next? So yeah. What about with you, Rhian? I know the question was about quizzes, but where have you seen some cool opportunities for surprise and delight when it comes to loyalty?
Oh, so many, but some brands are really doing some cool stuff right now. I think I actually attended this great event on Tuesday, and it was about how do we show maybe more, how do more premium or luxury brands, how do they show, how do they, show their loyal customers that they're, really value them without maybe something that they don't need, like a promo voucher. And there were some great ideas that came out of that. And I think, especially with more premium brands, they customers want to understand sort of the sustainability efforts behind what they're buying. So there's some really cool things like, obviously like plant a tree and, CO2, how do we reduce that? And, where has all that come from? So that's one aspect that's really cool. But another one that some of our customers are really, some of our customers, consumers, should I say, are really enjoying is if they're part of like a gold tier, they get to, join a webinar showcase with the CEO, seeing the new collection and things like that. And I think those are like, they're different from just earn a certain amount of reward, earn a certain amount of points, and you get £10 off or $10 off. And it helps them, even things like there was a really cool one I heard about our clients do the other month where they actually were in top tier clients were invited to be part of a focus group.
So cool.
And they were like, okay, so, you're big fans of the brand. You're really, really loyal. We really appreciate you. But out of these sort of colors and styles, what are you really feeling? And that I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Really cool way of showing, different ways of surprising and delighting customers, essentially.
Yeah, I remember years ago, we were early adopters of Purple Mattress,
Mm.
and years ago they emailed us because we'd bought in like the mattress, the sheets, we were all in on Purple, and they were just going into the pillow space, and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna send you a pillow for you to try out, but we have all this like information for you to fill out beforehand." So it was kind of what you're saying about like getting early access, being a part of like an advisory group. I was lucky enough to be selected to where I got the pillow before they made it, and it was just man, it earned like I was already loyal, but now I'm like extra loyal to them, right? I'm never buying anything non-purple now, so
Yeah, and I think, sometimes it's almost like I think when we look at loyalty, it goes beyond points, right? It's not just earn and burn. It's about showing your consumers that you genuinely care about their feedback and what they mean to you. So
yeah,
yeah. Um,
yeah, yeah. The last example I'll say on just overall loyalty, and then chat, feel free to ask any other questions. But you guys are probably all familiar with the brand Chewy and what they've got the whole, pet food subscription situation, and they do this thing that's really special. It's sad to talk about, but it's special where, oftentimes pets pass away, and the last thing that people think to do is to cancel their pet food subscription, right? Like they're dealing with the grief and everything like that. So what happens is customers will write in after the fact and they say, "Hey, I'm so sorry, I need to like cancel this." Like because they get that food at their doorstep and then it's like that reminder again of like my pet's gone. And so Chewy, what they do is they refund the person. They say, go ahead and donate that to somebody who needs it. And then a couple days later, they send them flowers. And it's like
oh,
they do that time and time again. And now the next time they buy a pet, you know that they're never buying pet food anywhere else.
no, absolutely. Well, yeah, it's similar to what I said about the the subscription I have for my cat, and it's literally the most boring subscription ever. I think it's worming tablets every month. But my God, the fact that it's addressed to my cat every month, and it's like, oh, Roy's prescriptions here. I just love it. So yeah, and I won't leave them. But it shows how much those little small things matter.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, chat, any last questions? It could be anything about loyalty, it could be anything about quizzes, anything about online personalization. And I'll just wrap up here by saying that what's really cool about, because I led the charge on this start of this topic, but just to kind of like wrap everything up is because we get so excited when we work with brands that have loyalty and have quiz data, because it makes that on-site personalization so much better. So everything that Pablo and Rhian have been talking about, we can do on-site personalization through whether it's custom badges, top bars, messaging in the cart. We can even prompt quiz takers, which is amazing. So that's one thing I didn't tap into on the earlier part of the conversation, but we work with Octane so closely, we can identify who hasn't taken a quiz and then recommend people to take the quiz through little elements on the site, whether it's above the add to cart button or it's even in the checkout, because maybe they're in that cart and they're just unsure if this is the right product fit with, because we can do all that messaging, and it's a win-win for everybody. So yeah, but I'll stop sharing my screen here. I'll give it just about one more minute for any questions, and then we will go ahead and award the most valuable chatter here in a moment. But any closing thoughts from you, Pablo or Rhian?
No, all good on my end.
Yeah, same.
Awesome, awesome. I'm going to drop my link in here, and Pablo and Rhian, feel free to do your guys' contact information as well, whether that's the link to the demo or email or anything like that. But definitely really excited, really glad that you guys were here and a part of this topic today. And thanks to all of you guys for sticking around until the very end. It definitely means a lot that you guys would spend your Thursday with us today. So. Yeah, but without further ado, I'll award the most valuable chatter. Definitely, it's going to go to Jennifer. Jennifer, you've been engaged, asking great questions. You've been just a nice little boost to the chat. So I'll be following up with you, Jennifer, and we will give you a nice little prize for being the most valuable chatter. So congrats, and thanks everybody for being here. And we will catch you all on the next one. So stay tuned, and we will be sending this replay out too. So thanks again to Pablo at Octane and Rhian at LoyaltyLion, and hope you guys have a wonderful day.
That's great. Thanks for having us. See you later.
Bye,
See
everyone.
you guys.
Take care.